Thanks for joining us. I'm so pleased to have you meet Jacob Kramer, who is a sophomore at Yale University, 19 years old, and you have a nonprofit that I have fallen in love with called lovefortheelderly.org. All right, so this show, we like to dig deep. You grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. Where did this organization come from? The heart, of course.
Of course. I kind of just sat down in my living room one day after having volunteered in nursing homes and seeing how lonely and isolated a lot of the residents were. And I knew that I couldn't go and friendly visit to each resident in that nursing home, and I wanted to do something even greater because I knew that this couldn't just be a problem at both of the places that I had been volunteering. First as a kid assistant or announcer at a bingo tournament every week, and then just doing this kind of friendly visiting. I wanted to see something more, so I sat down, wrote some letters, sent them to Lemon Grove, California, and I was like, oh, maybe they'll respond. And they did, and they loved these heartfelt
because somebody
letters.
Cared, right?
Yeah.
So you had a great relationship with your grandfather. He passed when you were in 6th grade?
10 years old.
All right, so, and you describe on your website that, life was really good, and then my grandfather passed. Was he a father figure in your life? Tell me about your grandfather.
He was just a really special person to me. I think everyone's grandparents are, and both of mine have definitely always meant the world to me. We would go on walks in the park or at our local mall and then go to the food court, obviously, every week. We would, I don't know, celebrate Jewish holidays and stuff together. And just, I don't know, seeing someone on a routine basis who's family, that's so special to me, especially when I often felt kind of disconnected from other family. It meant the world to me that he was such an important figure in my life.
So is that, when you were in 6th grade, is that when you kind of got this idea that someday you might do something to help the elderly? I mean, where was the light bulb that went off in your head?
So no, actually, I was like, I want to do something, but I didn't know what. And my grandpa had always, encouraged me to give back, especially to the Jewish community, and practice what's called tikkun olam, which is repairing the world. So I was like, okay, I want to do that, but how? And so first, I tried to volunteer for 2 different organizations, and I was actually rejected because of my age. So I think it's kind of funny that I've started this now because it's combating ageism and fighting loneliness in our elders with love, which is sort of, I don't know, it's just kind of ironic. And so that's why I started, because I was rejected from these 2 service organizations, and I thought, why not make giving to our elders accessible to everyone?
So at Yale, what are you studying?
Cognitive science, specifically language and development.
Okay, so let's say you're going to graduate.
Oh gosh, I hope
will.
so.
Where's this organization going to go, do you think? Because it's really starting to take off.
Yeah. I have a lot of plans for the future. First, in December, we launched a new program called Senior Storybook, which is directed by my good friend Emma. And she is a high school student, actually, in Arizona, and she is collecting people's stories from across the globe who have been impacted by our elders. So it's sharing personal anecdotes about awesome elders in our life that mean so much to us. And already she has a bunch of people lined up to tell their stories, and I just think it's going to be a great way to sort of humanize the elderly and fight ageism, and also encourage us to not isolate people, embrace them with open arms.
I think a lot of elderly people would say we feel invisible. Yeah. Right, almost thrown away at some points. So you have embarked, this is letter writing campaigns, and all ages can do this. And you want people to be artsy and crafty and show their own individualism. Here's another one. Because some people who are, let's say they're at a place with other elderly people, they're not getting notes. To me, as a journalist, handwriting a note is everything. The written word is everything, and people don't do that anymore, right? So we text and we send, emojis, which reminds me of hieroglyphics, but we don't write. And I think we need to feel the impact that somebody feels that way. What have the elderly told you when they get these messages?
Oh my gosh, it is just such a nice feeling for them, I think. Sometimes they've broken down and cried when I'm personally handing out letters, which I've gotten to do quite a bit recently in the New Haven area, which is really exciting. I don't know, just that, first of all, they don't get handwritten cards anymore, which is really disappointing to me because I don't know, I got a handwritten card from my grandma for Hanukkah this year, and it was so sweet. And
we should say she's 98 years old, or gonna be, right?
Yes, she is. I'm very proud.
Yes. Her name is Doris Heller Kramer. And at this taping, we're taping on a Monday, and on this Wednesday will be her birthday. And you're encouraging people to do what?
To write a letter to an elder in their life, or maybe even a stranger, which they can do through my organization at lovefortheelderly.org.
Now, all of these letters, school children are doing it, I can do it. They all get sent back home to Cleveland?
They do.
How many letters have people written since you started this? About 2 years that you started it? In what year?
It actually started in 2013, but it really didn't become an organization legally till 2015, and actually till 2016.
Okay,
you know?
So 4-ish years or so.
Yeah, it's been a while.
How many letters have you sent out, and how do you do this? Because they all go into a feeder system in Cleveland, and then what happens?
So we've collected 95,000 letters and counting, so hopefully this Letter to an Elder Day on February 26th, this Wednesday, will be a big day for us, and we'll reach 100,000. Yeah, so people send them to our P.O. box, and then we have a team that sorts through the letters, reviews them all, just by skimming through them and making sure they're legible and appropriate, and then they bundle them up, and we send them to nursing homes, assisted living facilities, hospices, and that's where the magic happens.
How, this is going to probably take donations, right? Because somebody is paying to ship all of this stuff all over the world, or just in the United States.
Yeah.
So how is that going? How are the donations going?
They're okay. I think every nonprofit is underfunded, and because we are 100% volunteer run, all of our team spends hours each week working, and we also have kindness ambassadors, which are just people who give extra as well and spend their time on our monthly conference calls, which are virtual, and doing a bunch of like random, I don't know, random tasks for us because they care so much about our mission. We have all that support, but funding is definitely an issue, yeah.
Yeah, so give and help them send out.
Yeah.
You seem like one of the happiest people on the face of the earth. Is that you all the time, Jacob?
No, that's so nice of you. I've actually, I'd say last semester, I definitely experienced a bit of like a sophomore slump. It was hard for me, and I think it just kind of like fueled my fire for giving back and making sure other people feel happy and loved, because for a little bit I actually didn't feel like I mattered, which is a crazy thing. Like, I'm sitting here now being like, oh my gosh, like we both matter, like, and like you're so kind. I feel like I'm kind, and like, why should anyone who is kind feel like they don't matter? Why should anyone feel that way?
I feel like you're going to change the world in many ways. Do you feel like that? Or you're going to try anyway, right?
I will try, but I can't do it alone. And I think what I've learned through Love for the Elderly is that, especially the past couple of years building a team, I can't change the world alone, maybe in a very small way, but we're all so much better together.
How is it that people are finding you and becoming a volunteer?
Everything happens like completely online, which is kind of weird to a lot of people. I remember in like 2013, 2014 reaching out to like blogs and like just volunteers and like schools being like, hey, like wanna write a letter? And they'd be like, okay. Like it's kind of a strange thing, or wanna feature my organization, which is really just a small project. But yeah, we're social media born and bred, and it's really cool because now like we have this, I don't want to say huge, but like really exciting and lively and supportive group of people online that support what we do.
So you have a number of different initiatives. You've got sunshine bags. What are those?
Just little goodie bags that are filled with things like smiley face stress balls, some pens, or even some essentials like lip balm or tissues, and we have our ambassadors go to their local senior facilities and pass them out, along with a letter of love, of course.
What other initiatives? You have your kindness ambassadors that you talked about. This is all volunteer. A pen pal program to nursing homes. Tell me about this.
So that was a pilot program actually a couple years back, and it's no longer around just because it was very difficult being the middleman for a pen pal kind of thing. But it was one of the most exciting things I've ever done, and I'm so proud. We got to partner a few places. One included being a senior facility in Portland, Maine, and a school that was actually learning English, like a classroom, in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and they got to pen pal every month and just exchange words, and then they got to Skype at the end, and they were also featured on this like really famous like TV network in Brazil, which was kind of crazy. It's called Rede Record, which is a very like odd experience, and that was like, it was the first time I was like, whoa, like maybe I'm onto something big.
Well, you are onto something big. If you listen, you know, to what's coming back to you, and you know, we used to write letters. I mean, servicemen and women would write letters and they'd wait to get them, and they'd be, you know, these wonderful letters. Or I'd get, when I was in college, I'd get letters from my mom and dad, and we've stopped doing that. So what you're doing with these letters is not only romantic and wonderful, but it's actually somebody cared to put down this and got a pen or pencil and wrote some feelings to somebody. That's enormous. That's enormous what you're doing, because we've gotten so far away from that, that somebody taking the time to actually do this is incredible.
I think so too. We have just, it's crazy how I've kind of realized this online. There are so many kind people out there just looking for ways to give back. So it's really exciting to me that I've been able to, well, not me alone, but like Love for the Elderly has been able to open up that door to giving to so many people. And handwritten is so beautiful. I think you can put it on a bedside table, you can share it with others, and that's the beauty of these simple but so meaningful letters of love. You can spend 5 minutes and change someone's day, or week, or I don't know, change their mood for the rest of the year. Who knows?
It's so true. Has Yale embraced this yet? Does Yale know about it? I mean, Yale's a big community, of course, but what's happening in your college where you live? Which college are you in?
I'm in Benjamin Franklin College.
Okay, so have they embraced it?
My friends definitely have, but I haven't done much at Yale, actually.
Well, get them going, because what I see is everybody at Yale writing letters and them going somewhere, and you're getting some good press, which is great, because
Thank you.
took the time. No, you took the time to care. You took the time to care, and I think in a lot of ways where we're communicating online, we're not talking to each other, right? So the conversation is stifled. Sometimes when you send a text message, the message isn't getting clear through to that person what you really meant. So the art of conversation and the art of writing letters. Jacob, thank you for bringing this back, and thank you for mattering to so many people, and you have created a movement.
That's so kind of you to say. I have not done it alone, though, but I'm so grateful to like be able to do this and be able to put smiles on people's faces, because we definitely all need more happiness in our life.
And so the mission statement would be, to people listening to this, is what?
We're trying to fight loneliness with love for our elders, and I would love for everyone watching this to join, because it's a really powerful thing.
Jacob, you're awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ann. I appreciate being here so much.
You betcha. Jacob Kramer, lovefortheelderly.org. Look it up. Thanks.
Spend all night kissing and the bump right here, then who else is missing? Got a little sidetracked if I'm intuition and find the keys to the door, but it's also a metaphor. Need to keep locked in the grocery store of my mind. Just to save time, skip right ahead to the next rhyme.